Hey guys, good evening. Let me know if you could hear me well. I am going live both on Instagram and YouTube. So if you see me looking up, looking here, looking there, this is why. Thank you for joining. If you're new here, which I hope you're not, I'll just introduce myself. I'm Julie. I am an embodied healing coach. I help women who are burnt out, suffering with chronic pain, learn how to heal themselves so they could finally live the life that they remember. Um, I did a live, it wasn't yesterday, it was the day before, and I spoke a lot about what chronic pain feels like. So if you want, go back and look at that video. But here, I wanted to talk to anybody who's feeling or who's going through chronic pain at the moment and is desperate for relief. I've been there. I know exactly what that feels like where you've tried everything. You've tried all the cortisone shots, you've tried all the surgeries, you've tried all the specialists, you've tried all the doctors, you've maxed out your out of pocket deductible. If you know, you know. And you're over it. You're over the injections, you're over the scans, you're over the MRIs, you're over it. Like if I have to go into another MRI machine, I might just scream. um so I wanted to come on here and invite you to have an open mind, invite you to, for one moment, think of the possibility of something besides Western medicine. Because, yes, I do believe in Western medicine. I'm not one of those people who's like, no to doctors. Yeah, they're here for a reason. Um, but I feel like once you've done that over and over again and you haven't gotten any solution, any resolution, any type of healing, any sort of like you're not moving forward, you're just kind of stuck and you don't want to be dependent on pain meds and surgeries and scans and all the things. You want to live a life that you remember. It's almost like you're living a body that you don't recognize. If you're somebody who's ever dealt with chronic pain, you'll understand what I mean. But I wrote down a bunch of notes here because I tend to ramble and I don't want to miss anything. So if you see me looking down, that is why. But I wanted to give you one thing that you can do now that's going to help you to end, to minimize your chronic pain symptoms, the pain that you're having, the migraines, the nerve pain, the shoulder pain, the neck pain, the back pain, the hip pain, the knee pain, the stomach issues, the IBS, the all the gut issues like the gallbladder issues, the gallbladder stones, the fibromyalgia symptoms, the lupus symptoms, the I'm trying not to miss anything because there's many. The fibroids, all of that. Like pain should not be lasting a long time. Pain is normal, but when pain goes on and on and on for weeks and months, that's a problem. Um, and so I wanted to share with you a way that you can end that. And one of the ways, or one way to start that, is to start to be radically honest with yourself. To start to be radically honest with yourself, which is why I want you to stay with me here. I want you to stay with me because trust me, when I started on this journey and I started doing a deep dive and started researching on how I can get rid of this debilitating chronic pain, I was already at the point that I would try anything just to make the pain stop. So I began to see things through a more gentler lens of like not coming to something with like whatever, that's not gonna work, or you crazy, you just talking shit, or like I don't want to hear it. No, I was open to hearing anything and everything that I could find or that I could stumble upon because when you're in pain, you just want it to stop. Like you're willing to do anything for it to stop. And from somebody who has a high tolerance for pain, because I have a really high tolerance for pain, Um, that's big, right? So when I say be radically honest with yourself, I'm talking about think about all the times that you could have spoken up for yourself and you decided not to because you didn't want to ruffle feathers, you wanted to keep the peace. Think about all the times that you put somebody else's needs before yours. Think about all the times when you've said yes when you really wanted to say no. Think about all the times when you said you weren't gonna do something, like you call your girl and you're like, I'm not gonna pick up the phone, I'm not gonna, da, da, da," but you do it anyway. Or you give somebody the time of day that doesn't deserve it. Or you pour into other people and you constantly are doing for others and constant you're like that go-to person that everybody can count on to be there for them, to just always do the thing that they need. You sacrifice yourself all the time, right? And it goes deeper than that, which I'm not going to cover on this live. That's for another day, another time. But think about all those times that you were not honest with yourself and honest with your feelings. And I want you to realize, like, how has that been working for you? A lot of the times it has been making us miserable, both physically and emotionally and mentally. But because a lot of us were raised to put other people before us as women, not to say that men don't experience chronic pain, but it's mostly women. Of all the times that you've witnessed growing up, women in your family always putting themselves before everyone else. I mean, putting everyone before themselves, I should say. So that's normalized in your head of how that's how women should be, right? And it makes sense that as adults, we carry on that culture, that tradition, right? Where we are the ones who are the pillars, we are the ones who are fixers, we are the ones who do the most, right? But how has that been working for you? Not well. Because when it comes to chronic pain, there's a huge emotional factor that is tied into that a lot of people don't talk about, especially in Western medicine. They want to treat the symptom, but they don't get to the root cause as to why things are happening and why you're experiencing that pain. And what I'm going to talk about today is going to touch upon that just a little bit so you get some kind of nuance as to what I'm saying. But I want you to be radically honest with yourself. And I mean, like, how do you take that step, or how do you make that decision to be radically honest? You gotta get tired, you gotta get sick and tired of your shit. You gotta get sick and tired of how you've been moving in life all these years. You have to be ready to make a change. You have to be ready to disappoint people. You have to be ready to lose relationships. You have to be ready to shift relationships. You have to be ready to end cycles. And not everybody is up for that, right? And what I'm going to teach you today is going to lead you on the path to that. And a lot of people are not ready for that. And so they will shy away from what I'm about to share because they're like, they want to continue being people pleasers, or maybe they're not ready, or they haven't mustered up the courage to do that one thing they know they need to do. Right. And so they want to keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. So, like I said, I want you to be radically honest with yourself. And then I want you to surrender. I want you to trust. And then I want you to take a stab at what I'm telling you, or the tip that I'm going to give you in tonight's live, and try that for a week and see how you feel. Right. So, what is it that you need to do? Let me get to what they call it, the meat and potatoes of it. What are the steps that you need to do, or what is it that you need to implement? If you've been following me for a minute, you know that I am an avid journaler. Like, I've been journaling since I was a teenager, probably before then, and I just don't remember. I've always been like into writing. I've always been into poems. I've always been a pen to paper kind of girl. Even now with technology, I prefer pen to paper. But what I'm about to teach you, you can do it on your phone, you can do it on your laptop, whatever, it doesn't matter. But me, pen to paper. I'm just old school like that. I'm going to want you to journal without a filter. What do I mean by journaling without a filter? I just don't want you to journal about how your day is going because that's surface level journaling, which is great, but it's not what we want for this particular result. I want you to journal without a filter, like if nobody's watching, if nobody's ever going to read, if nobody's ever going to judge you, if nobody is ever going to have something to say about what you're going to write. I want you I want you to journal so deep that you allow whatever rage you have inside of you, whatever anger you have inside of you, whatever shame you have inside of you, whatever fear you have inside of you, whatever sort of emotion that you have inside of you, I want you to journal so deep without a filter that it's going to allow you to get all those emotions out of you. And if you're somebody tapping into your emotions is a little hard to do, I want to leave you with like a cue, like a little starting point to kind of get your juices going, get your oil kind of like moving. I want you to think of a recent experience when you felt angry, shame, or a time when you wanted to say no, but you said yes. A time where you were so pissed off, like you felt like your blood was boiling. You ever know, like when you get pissed because it could be somebody that said something, did something, something that triggered you, like whatever. It just pissed you the fuck off. And you were just like, ah, like you called your girl, your sister, whatever, just like venting. But I want you to put that on paper. And I want you to go deep. And the deeper that you go, the more the emotions are going to come out. And it's going to be a very emotional experience where you're going to feel all the things. So if you're somebody who's been running from your emotions, which is typical from with somebody with chronic pain, this might be a little challenging for you, but I want you to stay with me. I want you to like commit and stick to it and really do this like your life depended on it, basically. Is how I had to look at it when I started doing it because, like I said, I was willing to try anything to get back to who you see or a better version of that. I want you to add it to your routine, whatever routine you have going on for yourself. And if you don't have one yet, I want this to be your routine. If you're a pen to paper girl, get you a journal, a notepad, something that you can use for the week. You could do it on your phone, you can do it on your laptop, your iPad, whatever. Just whatever is the easiest way for you to do this. And I want you to think about how getting to those emotions made you feel when you were angry, shameful, fearful, um, disappointed, excuse me, all those things. I want you to like really go into those emotions. Don't just talk about, oh, this person pissed me off. No, like, why did this person piss you off? Like, why did you feel that way? What triggered you? What's the underlying reason that set you off? Because it can't just be here. You got to go here, right? And I want you to be radically honest because this is important. Like, it's just you and paper, it's just you and your device. Nobody's going to see it, nobody's going to know what you wrote. So I don't want you to feel that you're going to be judged. I don't want you to feel like, oh, what if somebody sees it? Like, no, it's just you and your journal, you and your device, you tapping into your emotions, you getting into a lot of the internal stuff that's going on in your body. Because, like I spoke about in my last live, like our body our nervous system, our brain, they're all connected. And so when we are feeling any sort of pain, that pain is coming from somewhere because it is one of the ways that our body communicates to us. It's one of the languages of the body. It's one of the ways that our body tries to get our attention. So I'm not going to go in too much into that. If you want like more information, watch the live that I did before this earlier this week. I go in a little deeper on that. So I'm not going to be repetitive, but you're probably like journaling, girl, journaling. Journaling is a method that has been used for forever. For I know people who journal to manifest. I know people who journal to document. I know people who journal to excavate. I know people who use journaling in different ways for different reasons. Um, but when I tell you that this has made such a 180 in my life when it comes to journaling and my chronic pain, and there's other factors that go into it. But this is just one thing that I wanted to touch upon. If you want more information on like the entire system of how all of this works, then you can click the link in my bio. But for now, I'm just going to talk about this one thing that may sound and seem small, but it's not. And it's crazy because sometimes we're like, the simplest things can have such the biggest impact. And sometimes we're looking for this huge thing, this like huge change, this huge like answer, right? Which when you look at it face value, it's not huge, but the impact is huge, right? And like I mentioned before, when you are dealing with something like this, you are more than willing to take a stab at anything. So if you are where I used to be of dealing with all these, any sort of the chronic pain symptoms that I spoke about earlier in the live, I'm going to leave this up on my feed or my profile, I should say, if you want to catch the replay, because I see some people are joining now. Um, I lost my train of thought. Well, there's that. We lost our train of thought. Hopefully it'll come back. Um, but I think I was saying that when you've tried all the things when it comes to Western medicine and those things are just frustrating the shit out of you because the healthcare system in America is garbage, it's trash, it really is. It's only good to for like little emergencies here and there, but when it comes to like dealing with a chronic illness or some sort of chronic issue, it's just trash. It really is. It's not meant for that. It's meant for like quick fixes, a little surgery here, a little surgery there, and that's it. You don't need it anymore. But whenever you constantly need to tap into your insurance, you will come to find out how trash it is. And my insurance is pretty good, by the way. And it was still frustrating. But that's another discussion for another day. um, the fact that I never want to see a doctor again unless it has to do with like routine stuff is an understatement because once you've been through the journey of having to deal with doctor after doctor, test after test, specialist after specialist, it's just a journey that I don't ever want to embark on again. I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy. But I want you to make a commitment to yourself, as small as this may seem, to add journaling to your routine daily. I want you to do it daily for a week and see how you feel. See how your body feels. See how you feel physically, emotionally, mentally. And I know it may seem like journaling, that's it. Trust me, yes, journaling, that's it. I mean, like I said, there's more, but we're going to start there. We're going to start there. And some of the chronic pain that I was dealing with was nerve pain, back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, hand pain. I had two surgeries in under a year. I had shoulder surgery and carpal tunnel release surgery for the nerve pain in my hands. Um, I know I'm forgetting some stuff. There's neuropathy. I try not to remember, to be honest, um, because it was just it was such a hard time. It was so anybody dealing with chronic pain, I feel your pain. I know exactly what you have been going through, the endless cortisone shots, the endless MRI, CT scans, the all of it, the EMG tests, all of it. I know exactly. I shouldn't say exactly, but I know I can relate to how you feel. So I wanted to leave you with that, with the journaling without a filter. I want you to allow all the emotions to surface, all the rage, all the shame, all the fear, all the whatever comes up for you, all those feelings that we try to push down, all the feelings that we try to avoid, all the conversations that we are afraid to have with the people that we love because don't want to hurt them. Or, like I said, all the times we put other people before us, and maybe we're angry at ourselves for that. Or maybe we feel shame because we're like, damn, I said I wasn't going to do that no more. Here I am again doing the same dumb old shit. Whatever that is for you, it's different for everybody. But you will start to see like a common denominator in all of this. And of course, that common denominator is us. And again, I spoke about this in my earlier live earlier this week. So again, if you want to catch that replay, it's still up in my profile, where I talk about how chronic pain is wisdom. But you start to realize that you are the common denominator in a lot of what's been happening. Not to say that it's your fault. It's just that what we allow is what we allow, right? And as hard as that may seem to hear, it is the truth. Like people will treat you however you allow them to treat you. Things will happen to you, like not things, but circumstances will continue to happen because you allow them to happen to you.